Hi guys and welcome to Bomb Anime.
It's your girl Ruka.
And Big Boy Summer here, bringing you a hot or not on Tokyo 24th Ward.
Creativity. So this is about a group of friends who have lost a friend and sister respectively, and they go to her memorial service a year later and get a call from her giving them a choice on what to do. And it's basically the trolley problem. We've got philosophy hitting us in the ass yet again. Is this something we've seen before? Yes, it kind of is. Like I said when we did our anime coming out this year, I said that it was giving me Psycho-Pass vibes just from the trailer alone, and I still get those vibes after watching the episode as well. But it is showing us that it still does have something to say on the subject. It's not just regurgitating what we've already seen, it definitely has its own voice.
So for creativity, the thing I see that is really creative here is the way that they haven't explained much to do about this machine that we keep seeing. Like, what is its purpose? Why is it there? And yes, it did use the trolley problem as it's moving up throughout the episode. And it was 48 minutes and it didn't feel like 48 minutes. It was actually well spaced out and stuff like that. But in terms of creativity, it's a mixture of a lot of things. But you can definitely tell, and I think this is where Ruka was going with it, that the author has a voice here that they want to express. And you can see that coming through.
Entertainment. So right off the bat, I was pretty entertained because the opening really shocked me and I thought it was really unexpected. You saw people crossing the street and then you see a little, I'm not sure if it was a boy or girl, but it looked like a child running up and then immediately getting knocked over. I was just like, oh my god, like how are we opening like that? And then it shows us that it's like CCTV footage, and then you see a big massive screen of loads of little incidents happening everywhere. I thought that they did a very interesting take, but then the rest of the anime is very different to that. So it started and ended on the same tone of this AI weird mystery that's going on that nobody else seems to know about, and then you've got the rest of the anime which seems a lot more light-hearted. You've got a lot of sort of jokiness between the characters, like Shu forgetting to wear proper shoes to a memorial service. He's wearing like these really bright colored trainers with his suit. You've got the two kids that were, I guess, into hip-hop but also delinquents trying to cause trouble in the town and getting beaten up and then chased off by the rest of the people. It's a very different tone. It did kind of remind me of like a British style show.
Yeah, I really got that
did. Like I really got that. Yeah. So there are a lot of different elements that this anime had to offer.
So for me, in terms of entertainment, I like the fact that it's basically following the point of view of these three friends, especially going through a tragedy and dealing with something that is obviously supernatural, and them trying to come to terms with it in the episode and not letting the fact that they don't know everything stop them from doing what they feel is right, and actually watching it and seeing the politics about it and the change of the environment and getting that little bit of lore in the beginning about how it's now part of Tokyo. I like that, and it carried all the way through. You can see the different influences and the different point of views that all three of the friends had creating this story for the episode. So yeah, it was pretty entertaining in that sense.
Character development. So I'm not really going to go into each character because there were a lot of characters to talk about. I will say though that everybody had a very distinctive personality. Nobody was like the other. I would say that my favorite character is actually Suzuragawa, because I thought that she was just a really nice character that broke up everything, and she was really the only one that was looking out for Koki, whose dad has used his daughter as a way to drive his political stances and what he wants to do in the world. You had this assistant that was really taking on a lot for him and looking out for him a lot, which was nice. It was a nice element. I actually like a lot of the characters, to be honest. I think that Shu is probably my least favorite character, but he's very easy to understand. Although the way that he's acting may be slightly irritating, you can tell that he's acting that way because he's grieving. And the run-in that he had with Koki, because Koki has lost his sister, but it seems as if Shu was probably romantically involved with her. I'm getting that feeling
as well, yeah.
So they're both grieving, and obviously Shu wants to believe that she's still alive, but Koki doesn't need that in his life right now. He doesn't need to hear that his sister is alive when he's trying to get over it. So they're both going through the same thing but in extremely different ways, and so they've butted heads a little bit. Even the fact that they haven't spoken for a while, to be honest, didn't get that vibe through watching it, but because I know about the synopsis and everything, we know that they haven't spoken for a year before today. You can see why they all sort of stopped talking to each other, because it's so painful to be around each other. It just reminds them that Asumi is not there. I think that it was a very good idea to have a 48-minute episode, because if they'd just done it in 20, it would have been a very lacking first episode. So they made the right choice to lengthen it and give us more.
So now that Ruki said everything I wanted to say about character development, I'm left with my favourite character. Look, everything Ruki said, I resonate with very, very hard, to be honest, because like she's bang on. The interplay between the characters were really, really subtle and obvious in the correct doses, and it was really nice to see that you can finally have a story where not every character is complex, but it is a snapshot of the populace where every character is different. So it's nice to see that. I didn't need to see too much Susuragawa. I think that's how you say her name. I didn't need to see too much of her to understand where she was coming from. I didn't need to see too much of Mari to understand where she was coming from, you know? And so those little interplays made you feel deeply for the characters, really. And that was good. I mean, my favourite character was Ran. I thought that he was very stoic, very cool, a little bit mysterious, and yet he seemed to have a very strong sense of whatever his principles are to move forward with it, and that completely resonates with me. I can see people watching this and resonating with a lot of different characters. Like, it's not going to be the kind of show where you go, like for example, Dragon Ball Z, maybe 90% of the people who watch that say my favourite character is Goku, or next will be Vegeta, or something like that. Do you get what I mean? This is a show where every character is a contender for that spot, sort of thing. I really like what they did there.
World building. So, for the world building, they did kind of just tell us what was going on. However, I actually appreciated the way that they did it. It almost felt as if, because they started with the AI character, it actually felt like the AI character was talking to us. The style that they did it in, I feel like it worked on this occasion, and also it made the visuals make more sense when we were seeing the things that were happening and seeing the political atmosphere. So I think it was actually needed, telling us just a little bit about what was going on and how this place is sort of broken off. Oh, it's not really part of Japan, but they're trying to sort of reincorporate it, but there's a bunch of stuff that's going on that's hindering it, political yet again. Also, we had the whole thing with Asumi and the AI system that we saw at the beginning. Personally, I am guessing that what has happened to these people is something to do with the next stage of the AI system that hasn't been really told to others, because as we know, currently this system is helping to predict crimes, and although they can't arrest anyone, they just lie in wait for the crime to actually happen so that they can help everyone and capture people as soon as possible. So I think that they have possibly had something downloaded directly into their brain, like they were saying, that has given them these visions of what's going to happen, because it's very, very close to predicting crime. So I think that that's what's happened, and I don't know about the physical upgrades. It seems a little bit far-fetched to get the upgrades through a phone call. However, we're on the realms of predicting crimes, so we really can't gripe about it. It doesn't make sense to start complaining at this point.
Good.
Just accept it.
Good. I like the way you did that, because you knew what my line was going to be. You knew I was going to say, that's where you draw the line? You knew I was going to say it.
Oh, jeez, so cool, annoying.
Cool. So, in terms of world building for me, what Rika said, yeah, okay. I agree to some extent. The one thing I do really agree with, I like the fact that they told us this time rather than showed us. I like that for this anime. It fit perfectly. The style that they've chosen, this was the best medium I think they could have done to convey the world. But what I really like about the world building was that you saw it again through the point of view of the characters. You didn't need to be told about the AI. Really, I don't think this episode at all. Like, I feel like that was like a back burner, to be fair, because the moment they got that phone call, the moment that the memorial service was happening, the moment that you saw the way Shu acted when those vandals were being vandals, you kind of knew what kind of story you were going to get, what kind of world this was. And I feel like, you know how I always say, if it can only happen here, that's a good world building basis. I feel like they did that there in this one.
Plot execution. So I would say that obviously we have gotten these characters who have got something downloaded into their brain, which is not only giving them better physical attributes, but also telling them about events that are about to happen. I am strongly guessing that this is not the last event that they're going to be approached with, I guess. The plot is obviously going to be following along this vein, as well as the AI, the political system that we've got in the background, and this friction between Koki and his dad. I think that they've gotten a lot of elements. I feel like this is one of the few anime where I feel like I understand what the story is going to be about. Also, I'm guessing we're going to find out about whether Asumi is alive or why it has used her. Personally, I think that the dad is probably involved a little bit, and that is why it seems as if it's Asumi. If your child has passed away and you're grieving them and you're involved in technology, what other better way to deal with the pain than to pour it into something that will last forever? So that's what I'm kind of hoping will happen, because I think it would be quite beautiful, and it would give a different aspect to Koki's dad, who seems quite careless with the way that he's speaking about the events to further his political career and not really caring about his children. I don't think that's actually the case, even though that's how he's coming across.
I think this is where I disagree with Ruka here, and it's purely on a technicality basis. I did not get a main plot from this episode. I understand why I didn't get a main plot from this episode. I see why. I even agree with it, to be fair, if I'm being totally honest. I agree that I shouldn't have gotten a main plot with this episode, but I didn't get a main plot from this episode. And that's all I've got to say on this.
Okay, so to the verdict. Creativity, hot or not?
I'm actually going to give it a hot. I know it's borrowing a lot of elements from different things, but I feel like they've done it in a creative way. So yeah, it's a hot for me.
It's also a hot from me. I think that it was quite creative, even though it has used things from things we've seen. Big Boy Summer actually mentioned off camera that it reminded him of Minority Report, which it does definitely give those vibes. I've mentioned Psychopath, but it's still a lot different, and there's still so many ways that it can be taken. So I hope for more good things. Entertainment. I
was definitely entertained, and to be honest, again, on a technical basis, it was 48 minutes that I didn't notice flew by because I was gripped into the story. So yeah, I liked it.
I was also entertained. For it being almost an hour long, it really did not feel like that. I still got through it really easily. When we had watched about 15 minutes, I actually had to check the time because I was thinking it feels like the anime should be ending, and I was really scared that it was just going to end in a disastrous way, but they didn't do that, and I was entertained. Character development.
It's a definite hot. Look, I don't need to say nothing else. Multiple characters, different personalities, different point of views. Brilliant.
Well, for me, yes, they do have a lot of characters and they do have their own personalities, but were they really developed? Yeah, I would say that they actually were. You didn't really know what was going on in the beginning, and as their personalities were revealed, it actually gave you the sense of how much they had changed from the past when Asumi was actually alive, which is quite hard to do, I would say, in 48 minutes, plus give us the story and all of the rest of it. They did a good job. So hot. World building.
I'm giving it a hot. It's a weak hot, but I'm giving it a hot because creativity kind of helped them there a bit. in the way that they gave point of view worlds as opposed to visual worlds as well. Let's call it a weak hot.
I was on the fence about this aspect myself, but then I decided that I was going to give it quite a strong hot actually, because although they couldn't explore everything, they have made sure that we know that they're concentrating on a lot of different aspects. There is the justice aspect, the political infrastructure, then you've got just the interpersonal relationships that are going on, and the change of not only the individuals involved, but the actual whole place as a whole. They're trying to build a lot of things. They had this new high-speed train where they had cut corners just to get it out in time to sort of garner public opinion. I think that they did a really good job to let us know exactly what type of world we're in and what we can expect to experience as we go along. So, strong heart. Plot execution.
It's a not for me on a technical basis. There was no main plot, so no.
I'm going to go for a hot for this one as well, because I do think that they did well in this section. So Big Boy Zama has gone for 4 out of 5 hots, and I have actually given it a very generous 5 out of 5 hots. Hopefully they deserve our really glowing report.
I'm not gonna lie, like literally, if it wasn't for technicalities, this would be a 5 out of 5. It was actually a banger of a first episode for me. But it ain't perfect.
It's Cloverworks. They usually do really good work when it comes to anime, so I'm expecting it to be a good anime. And on that note,
if you made it this far, we really, really appreciate you.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and leave your comments down below.
Peace.